welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of empowering small businesses such as yourselves, handholding and guiding you in your growth journey. I'm Sunanda Jayasilan. On the show tonight, we are bringing you our limited edition Atma Nirbhar series, the Leaders of Tomorrow Marvels, focusing on companies and businesses that are proudly championing the India story, making in India, for India, and are proudly wearing their Indian tag. First up, I'm in conversation with Panasonic, someone who's synonymous with most of the gadgets that you will have in your home and in your offices. I'm also in conversation tonight with our FMCG major, Wow Skin Science. Thank you so much for doing this interview here with us on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're doing a series of conversations around Atma Nirbhar companies. Now, you embody Atma Nirbhar because you're manufacturing here in India. You're one of the largest manufacturers. You have 15 manufacturing locations across the country. You're manufacturing in India, for India, but also for the globe. And we'll come to some of those different aspects of your business. But first off, thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me here. You said it right, actually, and incidentally, this year, while we celebrate 75 years of our independence, internally within Panasonic, additional to this, we are also celebrating 50 years of our presence in the country. And we came into this country in 1972 to set up a joint venture for manufacturing dry cell batteries. And in some sense, that was the need of that particular hour. Because the energy was deficit and the penetration of electricity into households was still limited. So Panasonic then in 1972 came and established this facility to manufacture dry cell batteries in 1972. So we in some sense are also witnessing a milestone this year.
Absolutely, and a milestone, if I can call it that, also has been this entire journey where you are of course one of the largest consumer products manufacturer and leader when it comes to the country, but the evolution now is to go from consumer products to solutions.
True.
And you're now your consumer life Panasonic life solutions.
Yes.
And just talk to us about what that journey is like and where you see yourself being positioned in, let's say, the next 5 years.
So many of us, including my case when I was growing up, looked at Panasonic as a company which produces audio products, televisions, and the perception still continues. And many people believe that Panasonic is into consumer durables, televisions,
but
air
that's a small percentage.
That is a very tiny fraction of what we do in India and also globally. And to set the perspective, this is only about 30 to 35% of our business in our country. And the remaining business is coming out of variety of other verticals which are impacting peoples and enterprises in a very large way. They are creating a large value for our customers and also for enterprises. And a significant portion of the top line globally also and in India also comes out of B2B oriented businesses. And I think we are evolving as a company, as you rightly mentioned, from merely being a product provider to a solution provider. Now, to make it simple, I'll give you one instance. For example, within the living spaces, as we all understand that Panasonic is into consumer durables and appliances. Now, on one axis, we have these products already being proposed to consumers. So when it comes to televisions, air conditioners, the strategy very clearly is to continuously upgrade the level of convenience, comfort, a better energy efficiency for people, a safer, a durable product. So this has been the center of our consideration when it comes to designing and proposing these products to consumers. But what makes Panasonic very unique? On one axis, we have these consumer appliances cutting across durables and to kitchen appliances, beauty care products. And on the other axis, we have the erstwhile Anchor Electricals, as we all know. This company is into switches, wires, wiring devices, geysers, LED lights, solar panels, those kind of products. Now these products essentially go into construct of a home. Now how many companies are in a position to propose these products in total, riding on a digital platform to create connected living for people, which essentially is more about a better comfort and convenience to people, and as I said, energy efficiency also. This is our immediate intention.
Sure. So I started this conversation by talking about Atma Nirbhar in the series of interviews we're doing. What makes you so excited about the Indian market? Where's that growth coming from?
In the first instance, being an Indian, this inspires me to take additional steps in this direction and to make my little contribution in this direction, which is very important for the country. And I have personally taken this agenda up to make this contribution. And as an organization, as I said, we have been here for last 50 years.
Yeah.
In some sense, it is a reflection of our commitment to the Indian society. And we already started to consider manufacturing majority of products which we are proposing to the Indian market and to let the assembly happen within the country. But I think this is just one step in that direction. You know, carrying out only assembly operations will not solve the purpose till the time we also backward integrate. So our strategy clearly is divided into 3 steps, which quite in line is with the direction of creating Atma Nirbhar Bharat in the coming years. This essentially means that not only we assemble the products which are consumed in the country, but also we backward integrate and start the production of components which go into these assemblies to also happen in the country. Now, not all of this can be done by Panasonic. Therefore, creating partnerships and creating this ecosystem of small and medium enterprises around our own base is one of our interest and intention. And third is not only like assemble and create backward integration, but also enable exports to happen out of our country. And economies of scale are extremely important. And as we all understand that majority of areas we deal with, the penetration rate is still very low. So in the time to come, we are expecting that in line with consistent growth of the domestic consumption, economies of scale will get created for the industry itself, and we'll become more competitive when it comes to enabling exports. This is the direction which we are taking.
Okay. I want to take a step back and look at the big picture when it comes to the domestic market and ask for you to really talk about first and foremost, and we're in the 10th edition of the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we love asking, people like yourself to talk about the big opportunities and challenges when it comes to your space. So I want to talk manufacturing today. And there are a couple of things. First and foremost, let's talk about the PLI scheme. Big boost coming in for businesses, large businesses at least, because the MSMEs that we are talking to, who's our target audience, is saying they don't really qualify for PLI because the thresholds are too high. But for a business like yourself, first and foremost, how has PLI impacted you and how has it benefited you? And how do you see this really panning out in the next 2-3 years perhaps?
Yeah, so first of all, I must say that my experience both into formulation of the deliberations which went into creation of PLI scheme itself. I want to share that experience, and thankfully sitting into the capacity of being chair in FICCI's Electronics Manufacturing Committee and also being inducted into SAIL committee, which is responsible for carrying out these deliberations, bringing the industry and the associations together. I was very lucky to be part of this entire deliberation over last couple of years. And my experience is such that while government was engaging with the industry quite consistently, over last couple of years, looking at the kind of opportunity which is ahead of us, the discussions have become very objective and the decision making is much more faster than what it used to be.
Okay,
and
you're talking at the government level.
At the government, and also the dialogue which happens between government and industry. So it's very inclusive and it has become more objective over a period of time. Second is, while being into SCALE committee also, I have an experience of many deliberations which cut across these 14 sectors, essentially in line with the agenda of Atma Nirbhar Bharat. And my opinion is that there is so much of opportunity for small and medium enterprises also, and this gets quantified with the participation which has happened. For example, I'll give you one instance. The PLI for air conditioners has not received participation from large manufacturers like us, and of course Panasonic has also participated in that, and the global majors have also participated in that. And for example, air conditioner industry is unique where the contribution coming out of global multinational companies and domestic companies is there, and also cutting across large, medium and small enterprises. We have received 61 applications and the total scale is about 6,600 crores of investment, and this cuts across 61 companies. And these are not only large companies, they would be only about 10 to 12 large companies. And then there are many small and medium enterprises in this. So in that sense, there is so much of participation which has already happened. So I would to some extent differ on the opinion that the opportunity because of any reason of small and medium enterprises do not exist. So that is happening. And second is, as we gain economies of scale, so what is the challenge today for small and medium enterprises? I believe it is scale. And as the scale builds over next few years, the participation of these companies will also improve.
I'll take a quick break. When we come back, Wow in Focus. Back in just a moment. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. You are watching the Leaders of Tomorrow Marvels, a series of conversations we're doing with businesses and companies that we feel are really showcasing what it means to be Atma Nirbhar, proudly Indian, proudly self-reliant. My second conversation tonight is with Wow Skin Science. Thanks so much for taking the time to be with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're doing this entire series of conversations around Atma Nirbhar businesses and companies and what it means to be true Indian and domestic giants, no matter in what space you are, and you are representative of one of those. So Manish, thank you for your time here on the show.
Thanks, Ananda, for having me at your show.
Not at all. I was just doing a little bit of reading up about you, and anyone who has followed your career graph, you are a serial entrepreneur. You're someone who saw almost bankruptcy in one of your previous businesses to becoming what you are today. Very briefly, and I'm sure it's been a very interesting journey and a highlight, in just about 7-8 years that of your journey, of this professional journey here at Wow, you have managed to build this brand into what it is. And I'm trying to understand perhaps one or two of those highlights that you want to start us off with.
Yeah, so I think failure is first the part of the process. So
in fact, your tagline is fail fast,
fix fast, learn
fix
fast.
Fast, learn fast.
Yeah,
Okay.
But I'm a strong believer failure is very important. It's critical. It came early in my life. At least it taught me not to take life for granted and always expect the unexpected, right? So I think that's something which I take it as a badge of honor. Right, at least in our new journey, and thanks for saying we're a brand which has created something, but internally, deeply, we still believe brands take a longer time to create. We're in that process. Okay. Brands take a couple of decades, but today you got the power of the internet, you got steroids of the internet, which is accelerating or shortening that time where we are in that process where we are. Right. So, but still, thanks a lot for crediting us on a brand which has got some good legs to become something large, but still a long way for us to go.
Absolutely. And you're just getting started. You're still a baby when it comes to this space, because you're going up against companies and brands that have been around for 100 years or more, 30, 40, 50 years. And you were talking about the internet, I want to pick up on that. And you were very keen, I understand, right from the beginning, to not be just someone who's selling on an e-commerce or an online platform, but to also have, like you're saying, legs in the offline world. What is your strategy? What is your thinking when it comes to this O2O strategy? And for someone who's watching this interview, what would you like to tell them about why it is perhaps essential to have this omni-channel approach?
Obviously, digital, the internet is always going to be our moat, or it's going to be our edge over competition. Yeah. That's something where we'll always learn to start with. Maybe innovation, new brand launches, you'll always look at using the structure of the internet today. But as a brand, you have to always remember that you have to be available everywhere and anywhere, right? So it's a process. You have some kind of tick-offs when you do digital only, when you start getting moderately having hybrid offline and online, but that also has a journey, right? Because offline journey is the toughest. It's an unforgiving channel if you don't do things correctly. And do remember one thing, brands are built in a consumer's mind, right? And that is something where there's a journey also from when you move from digital to also building brand, which also may be ATLs and a lot of BTLs what you do, but that also in a brand journey has a time when you do it. But if you really ask us as a brand what you create, you should be available everywhere and anywhere, and that's when you can tick off to say you are on a journey to be building a brand.
Okay, some data that I was looking at, this is as of last year, said that you're at about 12,000 odd stores and you want to make it 50,000 by in a year's time. That is 4 times growth in just 1 year. Where's that growth coming from?
I wish I can call one of our offline heads.
Yeah.
I think we might be cracking that next quarter.
Wow.
But
okay.
just
Congratulations.
But it's a journey, right? It's an unforgiving channel. If you don't do it correctly, the punishments could last you for quarters. Okay. But it's a gradual journey, but we're seeing a robust growth, at least on our offline demand, which we are positioning well, maybe in general trade or modern trade. That is something where we are looking at a big hockey stick growth for the next 12 to 18 months. Okay. And the potential is huge. Remember, gone are the days when you had to be in 2 lakh stores and you need to be on television advertising. We are on television for this whole year, advertising our core products. So just we're excited to be there in the offline store and really giving a good fight to our large competitors who we are fighting with.
Yeah. And some part of that growth, I understand, and you're quite bullish about the tier 2 and the tier 3 markets. And, it was interesting for me to read because typically when you're talking about brands that have a certain amount of an aspirational value that's bringing in, certain, say, different products or positioning, you're typically looking at your larger markets. But you believe that these markets are going to bring in a lot of growth for you?
So, we are in a very interesting phase. Loyalty is at its all-time low, right? When I say that consumers or the new millennial consumers, new age consumers are looking for new, right? Okay. Obviously, you're fighting a lot in the urban markets, metros. Tier 2, Tier 3, we see a lot of stickiness and loyalty of consumer brands. One is accessibility of great brands in those territories. And plus, a little bit more towards brand loyalty we have seen in Tier 2, Tier 3, which is a great focus, right? And that's where real India is, if you really ask me. Though we not forgetting the real goalposts of attending to the top tier markets where we are rapidly growing, but Tier 2, Tier 3 is something which is very exciting for new age brands like us. Remember, those territories don't get so much of accessibility to great brands, and that's what brands like us, which are hybrid online and offline, are catering to, which has an upper edge of competition mode point of view.
So the market that you serve, which is the natural products of largely ingredients that are sourced from India, more traditional, even while you're talking to a global target base, you're talking to a new India, and you're talking about the health benefits. You don't test on animals. All of these are perhaps criteria that's becoming increasingly important for today's millennial generation, which is your target audience. But at the same time, if you were to go on to, say, social media, you go on to Instagram, everyone seems to be, an influencer, everyone's talking about products, why this is good for you, why this is bad for you, etc. So my question is twofold. First, how do you ensure that the right information is going out about why you're using some of the ingredients in your products? And two, you ensure that you're getting the top of mind recall.
Yeah, so I think as an Indian consumer, we are the land of Ayurveda, so I think there's no new rocket science for an Indian consumer. What today's consumers are looking for, and most of our consumers are very well educated on what they're buying or researching before they're buying us, right? So most of the so-called YouTubers and the university of YouTubers on what's good for me and what's bad for me, most of those consumers are already coming preset what I want to have. As an example, we were the first Indian brand to bring clean chemistry into our formulations, right? That's sulfate-free, paraben-free. This is in 2015 when a competitor was close to 4x more the price point and unaffordable price points. That's when we launched that product. Getting back to again the onion seed hair oil, which is one of our most popular products. What did we do actually with it? We went down to understanding what consumers in traditional years used to use it, modernized that, made it more attractive to a millennial and Gen Z to adapt towards it, right? And we use that immensely well using social media, YouTube, and all the other mediums which is there. But remember, that's still a very small segment. So I like the question what you asked me, brand recall, but we've got a lot more, long way ahead for us to really start working on recalls. Internally, continue to believe that consumers are still trying us, though it's been a long time for us. But the next stage of brand recall, building brand, is something what the journey we have set out on, which you'll see us doing over the next few years robustly.
Out of time on tonight's interviews. If you have any feedback for us or any other companies that you feel you would like to see as part of the series, do let us know. Our contact details are on your screens as we speak. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.